What's going on, friends? Welcome to another episode of the You Glow Nurse podcast. I have the wonderful privilege of speaking to our special guest today, Miss Sheena Stanciel. So, we're going to get into more about purpose restored, purpose being redefined in this season as nurses. Sometimes we get bogged down by just nursing life, nursing duties. It's easy to fall into the burnout lifestyle. But here on the podcast, the You Glow Nurse podcast, I want to see you glow, friend. So we're talking all things health, nutrition, mental health, personal development. And today I get the opportunity to talk to a friend. Like, we're actually friends. So I love that when it's like a real friend, not only online. And I get to meet so many amazing women online, so many amazing nurses online, but to know this lady and to just see the growth over time, over the last 2-3 years, it has been amazing. And I'm just on the back seat, just like watching my friend glowing and growing out here. So I'm ecstatic to hear more about her and what she has to share with us. So let me introduce to you Miss Sheena Stanciel. She is an RN with over a decade of experience, currently working and teaching in academia in Houston, Texas. So just a little background about me and Sheena. We ended up working together a contract at the end of 2020. And this was a different kind of contract. We thought we were going in for just a regular 12-hour shift. This ended up being like a COVID clinic contract and different hours. We were there every day from 8 to 5, and just in this clinic outpatient setting that neither of us really understood, but we were there trying to learn, trying to do something different, try to get away from the busy, just get a break from the busy bedside nursing environment. And so her and I, we spent many times talking about health, about men, about life, about just growing up. And, even after we went our separate ways after that contract, we stayed in contact. And I've just had the great opportunity, like I said, to see her grow and glow out here. And so today she's going to share more about that. And I want to welcome Miss Sheena.
Hi. You
On.
go.
What's going on, friends?
How you
I'm
doing,
so
Ellen?
happy to have you on. She had me on her podcast recently, and I was in the hot seat. I was getting asked the questions. Now it's time for Sheena to be on the spotlight, which she so very much deserves. So, Sheena, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Fallon. How about yourself?
Girl, it's a hot one.
It is. It is miserably hot in Texas. Sorry, I'm trying to get my. There
Oh,
we go. It's
you're good.
miserably hot in Texas, as you know. Whew, girl,
All you
yeah.
can do is sit down and think about it. Like, I made it. I got in the house. Okay, let me drink some water.
For
For
sure.
sure. Cheers.
Cheers. Okay.
So, friend, as we start off this conversation, I just want to hear a little bit more about you, your background. I know some of your background, but I want the viewers to find out more about Sheena and how she got started. So, tell us your nursing origin story. How did you start, and how did you get to where you're at now?
So my nurse origin story. So I have been a RN for 12 years now. I am a Chicago native, so I started my journey in Chicago, Illinois. I got my BSN from Chamberlain University, and then from there, I worked in a variety of settings, including long-term care, rehab, and cardiac nursing. So I ended up obtaining my master's in nursing education, and I believe I think it was 2018. So I've been working in academia on and off for the past couple of years. So I enjoy it, to say the least. At least in this season of my life. So I really do like teaching. So I'm currently an instructor here in Houston, Texas, a nursing instructor.
I was so humble, so very humble with that little background. But we're gonna break it down a little bit. So
Sure.
you're hailing from the Windy City, Chicago, right? So
Bird.
what? Bird, for real. I'm actually going down there next week.
Oh,
So
okay.
I heard this is a good time.
Yes.
Yeah, so I won't get too much of the cold. Thank you, guys.
Exactly.
But so you started in Chicago. what
Mhm.
brought you here? Like, did you start as a nurse, as an RN? Where did you have any background in the medical field? Was there family members a nurse?
So none of my immediate family are RN. So, when I got into the hospital, like I said, I worked long-term care and rehab, but I had a background in cardiac nursing, a special kind of cardiac nursing. It's called LVAD nursing.
Yeah.
LVAD meaning left ventricular assistant device. So that unique experience brought me down here to trying to get my sorry brought me down here to Houston because the floor that I worked on at the hospital that we worked at or that we know about brought me down. They paid for me to relocate and gave me a little bonus on top of that. Thank you, Lord. And yeah, my nursing experience got me down here. So that's how I relocated here to Houston, and I stayed almost 8 years now.
Wow.
Mhm,
Okay. So didn't have any family like influence in your life. Same here. I'm the first
mhm,
nurse in my Latina family. So
mhm,
I kind of got into this thing not knowing what I was getting into, not even just knowing from what was on TV and just
mhm,
knowing what was in on commercials or what society made nursing appear. So yeah, I think that's awesome that you went you went the brave way, the brave
mhm.
path
Yes.
and went into nursing, and I want to go into that more. But even that part about coming down with this specialty, that's interesting as well. I know specialties are in high demand, but that's just interesting. Here in Houston, we have one of the largest medical centers. So I'm sure they need nurses, but that's amazing that they just offered you that position to come on down. That's great. So going back to what I said originally, how has being like the first nurse in your family, just being fresh, just getting into nursing, how has that affected your journey? And did it affect your journey? You
Yeah.
know, coming in, not knowing, not having any influence, not having like that mentor. I don't know if you did have a mentor. How did you deal with that time?
I could say this. So, even though my mother wasn't a registered nurse, she worked at one of the prominent hospitals in Chicago. When I say prominent, it's called John H. Stroger Hospital or Cook County Hospital. She is now retired. So, she worked at that hospital almost 43 years. She retired December of 2022. So, I guess my mother was an influence in the way that she said, if you become a nurse, you can always have a job. You can take care of yourself. I see my mother saying she saw the nurses on the unit. They got to go on vacations and talk about their new home and their new car and, all these hours that they were getting in paycheck. It was one of those things that my mother was like, this could be a career for you. Now, I don't know how much you're going to like it, but this is, but you'll be able
Did
to
she
take
leave
care of
with
yourself.
that? Did she leave? She left that with you, that
It was
part.
kind of like sandwich in between, it was like, how they have you the heart, heart felt heart. What is it called?
Heart,
Head,
head, heart.
heart.
Heart, head, heart. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Yes,
sandwich. The
yes,
sandwich.
yes. That type of sandwich, that head, heart, head. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Heart, head, heart. I love it.
I don't know. She did not lead with that, but it was like you may not always like nursing, but you'll be always able to take care of yourself. And that is important to me personally because I am an only child to my mother. So I don't have any brothers or sisters who would look out for me. So,
Mm,
or take care of me if something happens. So my mother said, it's on you to, take care of yourself and for you not to be a burden on my sisters, like my aunts
mm,
and stuff.
mm,
So I guess if you want to say who influenced me, it was my mother, but she wasn't a nurse. She was a unit clerk, a secretary, which is fine because she loved working at that job. She been with that job longer than she been with me. I mean, because I'm not 40 something yet. I'm close to, but not yet. But my mother absolutely loved working at that job, and she made so many friends of all of the healthcare sectors, like doctors and
mm.
nurses and the environmental specialists and other unit clerks. So that has been my influence to uh, get into nursing.
Oh, that's special. I love that. I love that. I feel like we even though I didn't have that influence, like,
Mhm.
directly, like, knowing somebody, I had a mother as well that was in healthcare, and my parents, they influenced me into nursing. Like you said, the great opportunity. Everyone knows, it's well-known knowledge fact. Nurses get paid. You always gonna have a job. And so that stability, that job securement is a reason why people get into healthcare. But, and this is where I want to pivot into talking about purpose. How
Mhm.
do we go from, okay, we get into nursing for just the job stability? Okay, well, I mean, I get paid and all, but like I'm looking for purpose. I'm looking for fulfillment. I want to find out my bigger meaning in life. Like, how did that pivot happen for you personally? Like, what is it that made you passionate about nursing? What was maybe that moment?
So I wholeheartedly believe that nursing education is my purpose,
Mm,
at least in this season of my life. So I think we have all those moments that we have someone in our life that doubt our capabilities or abilities. And for me, that was when I was in nursing school. So I had a nursing instructor tell me that she think I should be in the LPN program instead of this RN program. And I didn't really realize what she was telling me in that moment. I just thought she thought that I was dumb. But she was actually, if you really look at it, she's basically telling me maybe you should drop out and join a different program, not even an RN program, but a LPN program. So
mm,
that was a defining moment for me, knowing that this lady, even though she had all the acronyms and letter alphabets after her name, she thought to tell me that she didn't think I was going to make it as an RN. Okay.
mm,
So I want to get into nursing education because I want to be that person to encourage students who I know that may be struggling. You know, nursing school is not for the faint of heart. It is very hard work. You know, you got to know what the doctors know pretty much, you know. This is nursing is a difficult field. You know, it's not a glamorous field. You know, it's not
mm.
like we out here, you know, doing TikTok videos all the time. You feel me? Like I don't know
We're
what
not all out here doing TikToks or
we
playing cards.
are not doing that, okay? I mean, I know the TikTok videos be funny, but it has to be funny because sometimes you got to laugh to keep them
I'm
crying out.
crying.
Yeah, so yeah, that was my defining moment. Knowing that this particular nursing instructor thought that I wasn't good enough or smart enough to be an RN, but maybe I should try a LPN program instead.
Mm,
And it really makes me think, Fallon, that once if she told me that, and I never told any administration nothing like that.
mm,
I didn't mess with anyone's job, but now that I think about it, how many other students did she discourage?
mm,
And they didn't say anything, and they went that route,
mm,
or she's basically telling me to drop out the program, and I was just starting out, so.
mm.
I mean, if I would have listened to her, I probably wouldn't have reached this level that I'm at now. So I don't want to say I thank her because it wasn't that. I'm not saying give her all the glory. No, I'm not saying that. But I did have someone discourage me, and guess who encouraged me? My
Mm,
mother. My
mm,
mother. She said, you can do this. It's hard work. I already told you it's going to be hard work. I was up there 22, 23 years old crying, and here go my mother hugging me, consoling me, saying, you can do this, baby. You can do
mm,
this. It's okay.
mm.
So, and even though she was a nurse, she was there to let me know, oh, I'm almost about to cry.
That's good.
um, she really encouraged me, my mother. I'm so
Mm. No,
sorry.
you're good. No, you're good. That, like, has me in my feelings, like, when
Mhm,
a family member, we all had those times when we were crying, when we were
mhm,
like, "I'm giving up." And those defining moments when my parents were like, "It's okay." That's all
mhm.
you need sometimes,
Yep.
to have somebody come and tell you the audacity to
Okay.
LPN, like,
That's what
you
that
don't
lady told
know.
me, Fallon. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
what
tell
I
you, that's
should
what she told
yeah.
me.
Hold on, you don't know what a little encouragement can do. So I just hear you saying you want to be that encouragement that you would have wanted in those tough times, like especially in the beginning.
Yeah,
You're like wondering, is this my purpose? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, in order to find your purpose, sometimes, like you need encouragement too. And in
absolutely.
that moment, to find your purpose, and it doesn't happen over time. Like sometimes you need those moments, and then it all just kind of builds together. And it's like, oh, okay, like those
Absolutely.
building blocks. Like it's kind of like a domino effect. One thing fell, then the next and the next, and it's like, oh, okay, this is how it's gonna happen. Do you feel like there was like a clarifying moment in that? Like, what helped you kind of clarify? Like maybe you're like, okay, I want to do the LVAD. Like I'm here for the, you know,
Mhm,
contract nursing. Like
mhm.
that's my purpose. I want to make money, but what helped you kind of clarify that? I know you had your mom as a support. Did you have some like mentors? Did you join some groups? What kind of helped you just clarify, just for anybody that might be listening and is like, I'm not
Uh,
really sure.
Let me see. I guess like for maybe the first year after graduating, maybe you had the uh I guess your classmates knowing how they're doing, what jobs that they get, how what they're learning, how much they're liking or disliking nursing. Also, the fact that a lot of these hospitals, especially the big hospitals, have the RN residency program, so you
Mm,
get to lean on other new nurses that may have not came from the same program you were like. I mean, not say program like school, but you're all are new and you all are being trained to become nurses. Now you all may be in different units throughout the
mm,
hospital, but you still need to know how to pass medication properly. Even though they taught you that in nursing school, we need you to teach you the way we do it here at this
mm,
hospital, because we have our own guidelines and policies, procedures, and so forth. So I think leaning on the RN residency program. So I think if you're a new grad nurse, you need to be a part of the type of program. It's very, I guess, nurturing.
mm,
You get to ask questions, and no one will make you feel like you don't know any, because you all are coming in new. You
mm,
all are coming in new. It's just like nursing school all over, but now you have that big RN after your name. Now it's a little bit more real.
mhm,
Real patients and real medications and real blood and all this and real consequences. So I think being a part of an RN residency program really can help you. And I know some programs do give you a nurse mentor in
mm.
the hospital, just not the other new nurses, because you would like to talk to and speak with nurses that are more seasoned than those in your nurse residency cohort. So
Yeah, no, I get that. I remember my nurse residency program. I actually just celebrated my 8 years of being an RN. Yay!
yes, girl, you better glow,
Yay.
nurse.
I was like, "Oh, look." I didn't even know. My boyfriend was like, "Fallon, did you make 8 years?" On LinkedIn, it said it. So,
Oh my
that's how
goodness.
time flies. That's
For
how much time
sure.
flies. Yeah.
For sure.
Um but I love that you shared the residency program helping build that community. I think
Mhm.
when you get into it, I may have had this attitude, so I'm gonna confess. It was kind of like, another thing to do. Oh my God, I gotta show up to these meetings. I didn't really take advantage of it. And then I was working night shift too. So the
Mm.
day meetings and all the programs and all the projects, it was extra for me because I was sleeping during the day and going to work at night. So it was really hard for me to even put my mind to think like this is something important. I should be tuning in. Like I knew it was big, but it was really like hard for me. So I
Mhm.
think any new nurses that are listening or watching, like it's even if you're working night shift, even if you're doing, night shift, try your best to just show up and give it your all. Like it's an important thing. Not all nurses, I don't know if all new nurses get residency programs. Like, I
Mhm.
think it's a pretty much a mandatory thing as of now, right? Like
Mhm.
for the new RNs for most hospitals.
I would think so, especially if you're a major hospital system. I'm quite sure that if you're in a big hospital system, like at the medical center, that you definitely have to be a part of an RN residency program. I think it's also part of like a magnet status, making sure magnet
Mm,
status having that type of program for the new grads.
Yeah, take full advantage of it. Like, this is something that you've been working on. Yes, you may not be on your own yet. You're still going through some training, you still have some development, but it's all part of your process. Like, I think that's really important that we kind of like just highlight here that all of the things that you're doing in the beginning, they're helping you for that next step. Even the residency program, even the little projects, even the extra things, the mentor meetings, try to take advantage of it. Like, and just focus in, just be present as much as you can. You'll get to the senior stuff. Don't worry. It's coming. You get in there. You just get in there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, let me just bring up my questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, what has helped you sustain, grow, or even pivot in your purpose? Similar to what we just talked about. I know residency programs are were great in the beginning, but through your own experience, because I when we spoke last time on your podcast, you shared something that I loved. And it was like new nurses are burnt out even as soon as they get into the nursing field, you know. So having these tools even in the beginning of your journey is so important so that you can bring it throughout your process. Having those tools to like pivot or grow or sustain your purpose, you know, because it may change. Like you said, in this season right now, you're passionate about teaching. Maybe later on you want to go back and get your doctorate or go back and be more of you know, something like that, you know, even further. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just curious to know, like, what has helped you throughout your season so that you don't get burnt out, you know, to shift and change in your purpose as it comes, as you grow.
So, what has kept me, I guess, sustaining in nursing education, is that the correct word? Sustaining. What kept me in nursing
There you
education
go. Work it out.
is watching my students go from the shy,
Mm.
very quiet, very reserved nursing students and watching them get pinned at nursing graduation.
Oh.
Seeing my students graduate, watching them hug their family and collapse in my arms, and we hug
Mm.
each other. Watching these students now become my colleagues.
Mm.
I've been on and off teaching for a few years now. I have met students that I taught with or was teaching, and now they are managers in NP school. They are doing the thing out here, and to see that growth, it what sustains me. To watch someone say, Professor Stanciel, I don't think I can do this. I don't want to do this. I'm tired of nursing school. This is not for me. I don't want to do this. I hate reading all this stuff. I hate taking the tests. I feel dumb all the time. They don't like
Mm.
these students. Everyone think I'm dumb. I don't have enough money. I don't, I'm running out of money. What do I supposed to do? And I just say stay the course,
Mm.
pray, you know what I'm saying? And just that's what has sustained me. Watching my students become a nurse, you know,
Mm.
even if it's hard. I watching them become a nurse, watching them saying, okay, maybe I need to pivot for them. Maybe I need to take a step back from the program and come back at a later date so I can
Yeah.
get my personal life together so I can do nursing school a bit better than what I'm doing now. They make that decision. I don't say, girl, you need to sit out. They make that decision. These are adult students. So just to see my students, get that RN. That's what I really love. I feel
Mm.
like I'm fueling the nursing, shortage.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
So seeing those students become RNs and they make RNs and so forth. I mean, it just needs to keep on, growing and glowing. You feel me? So,
Yes.
so yeah, watching my students become. I know I keep repeating myself. Watching them become RNs. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. I mean, I hear you saying like keeping your eye on the bigger picture and then just watching the process
Mhm.
as you see people come in with the problems and then you're there as a support. Like your mom was such a like a simple word of encouragement to people, just seeing them beyond their problems as well, because we all started off somewhere. I think remembering that even as an educator, even as a nurse, like in the field for 8 years or 12 years or 10 years, wherever you're at, as a mentor, just remember we all start off somewhere, and then just keeping that encouragement. Like even I need to encourage myself sometimes, all the time, literally, like just watching that progress over time. I think that's beautiful. I mean, people start off one way and then just the whole glow up process, and you get to be a part of that. Like that must be so energizing, seeing
Mm-hmm.
the bigger picture at the end, and just enjoying the process. Like, hey, I get to be a part of this with you. I think that's awesome. I mean, you make teaching sound like really on another level.
Rewarding.
Just
Rewarding.
rewarding. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
for
is.
sure.
Overall, that's a great word to just say, like rewarding, purposeful, all of the things.
Teaching
For
on purpose.
teaching on purpose, for sure. And when you wake up in the morning, like, and you're like passionate about what you do, I think it just fuels you even to go further, maybe to stay later, or to teach a extra thing longer, or to get more detailed, or to just have more patience. I know that was something we were talking about, is
You better
patience.
believe it. You got to have some, you got to have some patience if you want to teach, for
Yes.
sure. For
So,
sure.
what is one thing you've learned about yourself as you become in the clinical field and you switch sides? Now you're the teacher. What is something that you've learned about yourself? Maybe in a good way, a negative way, and how did you go?
So, like you mentioned, uh, to be a little bit more patient with my
Mm,
students. I think I have to grow in that because some of the students that I come in contact with don't have a healthcare background. I
mm,
mean, when I was in nursing school, I was already I was a PCA or a CNA, so I was already working in the hospital. So knowing that some of these students don't have that background, you really have to take your time with them. A lot of
mm,
my students may be really nervous about clinical, like going into the clinical environment where you have real patients. Now, we're not talking about the mannequins that we see in lab. We're not talking about the little fake IV arms, the little injection pads. We are doing real things to real patients with real consequences if you don't do it correctly.
mm,
So I think being nursing has nursing education and nursing in general
mm,
have to provide patience. And you also have to give yourself
mm,
and the students some time to grow, and also just a tad bit of grace, because you have to think about the things that you didn't know. I like the students that don't know something. If they don't know something, that's fine, but you have to go look up these things. You have to go find out what you don't know. You have to ask questions. If you don't know anything, I don't want you to suffer in silence. I want you to ask me, and then if I don't know, or I'll have them just look things up. I think that is being an astute student, to
mm,
to be doing nursing school on purpose. Like, you're not looking for me to feed you this information. I want you to do your research. I want you to do evidence-based practice research. I want you to tell me something that I didn't know. I was like, really? And I'll look it up. I'm like, my student was right. I like them to be a Carmen San Diego. Go ahead and search.
mm.
I need y'all to, I want you all to let me know what's going on too. And I think that has been what were you talking about? I'm sorry.
I know, I
Sorry.
have to think
I
about.
lost my train of
No,
thought.
but I
It
love
is
that. I
late at
love
night,
that.
y'all. I apologize.
What have you learned about yourself? Like that
Patience.
patience,
Sorry.
patience,
It's so late at
patience.
night. I'm sorry. I mean, it's late. Like, me and Fallon been up for a few hours.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We already talked about this. Like, it's the bedtime is soon approaching. So, but I
Yes.
appreciate that. Like, you just got so passionate. I was like, what? I was like, I forgot all about the question. Hold on, what were we talking about? Oh, yes. What did you learn about yourself through this process of becoming an instructor? And you said just being patient. I think
Mhm.
that's a gem in its own. Like, in this generation, this microwave generation of get up, get it going, do it now, at my fingertips, everything happens now. It's easy for us to forget that humans and learning takes time, and really absorbing information and building that critical thinking takes time, but it's effort. it doesn't just happen like, oh, I just don't have the smarts, I'm not just, smart enough, so I give up. No, it takes intentionality. It takes looking for the answers. It takes, just being intentional about what you want, the education that you want and that you paid a lot of money for, I'm sure. So going above and
Exactly.
beyond and having a great instructor like you,
Yeah.
that's very encouraging and patient, I'm sure goes a long way. But there is a line. There is a line of empathy versus like, okay, this is an excuse. How are we going to manage that? So I do have some people that may be listening on that are educators. What are some tips that you would give, like maybe some new educators or educators who are struggling to have patience, or they don't really know that line, like, okay, how do I know when to be a little bit tougher but when to give that grace? What are some tips you would give?
So if you're gonna be tough, quote unquote tough, it's not even being tough, I guess, it's being concerned because you,
Mm,
as the nursing instructor, has assessed, because we are assessing these students, that this particular student is struggling and they're struggling in this way. So you will have to get two instructors with you. So I will suggest not to speak to a nursing student alone, so they won't say, oh, this nursing instructor was mean to me, she said this to me. Get a second nursing instructor to talk about behavior issues too. Now, I mean, nursing students are adults, but some behavior issues can be deemed unprofessional. Coming late to lab, coming late to clinical, these are unprofessional behaviors. Letting your phone ring, things like that. So I would say, if you're a new nurse educator, first things first, if you have to have one of those difficult conversations with your student, get a second instructor involved.
mm,
Then at that time, express to the student what they need to change to become better, or if there's a problem, or how can you as the instructor help them succeed. And then of course, document all these things and put it in their file, because they have to have a paper trail that
mm.
you came in contact with this problem and you addressed it. Now we're seeing that she addressed it, she addressed it, she addressed it, she addressed it, he addressed this issue with this student. And now it provides a paper trail that we've been talking to the student for a little bit of time and they still haven't got their act together. So maybe something needs to happen, and whatever that something is based on the higher administrators. But to have a paper trail on your students documenting certain behaviors, or I guess certain behaviors, or helping them with their assessment, like, oh yes, I spent an additional 2 hours with the student, teaching them how to do this skill. So I did try to help them to the best of my ability in
Mm.
that time. So I believe in, like I said, giving a second instructor to witness the conversation with that student, and then to document that you did that and what they should try to change in that moment.
Yeah, that's good. If it wasn't documented, it wasn't done.
You already know.
Even as an educator, right? Like even so, you can have all the empathy, you can have all the, oh, I'm gonna help, but also holding students accountable. I think that's super
Accountability.
important. Like, what can I do? I noticed this problem. What is it that, but coming with a team approach, like, what can I do to help you? I think that's really good, instead of just blame game. That's important for sure. But speaking up on the issue, documenting, and being concerned. I like that. Being concerned, not just tough. Like I think that's something I struggle with even now, just the idea of being tough. And I had
Mhm.
one of my alumni members kind of tell me, like, Fallon, you don't have to be tough. You're being a nurse, like you're doing a good job. A lot of people may put a negative stereotype on nurses being tough, or just being bullies, or just being overall this way, stereotyping them, generalizing nurses. But nurses have to be concerned. We have to go the extra mile. We have to do the best for our patients, because it's it's our job. It's our duty to do the best for our patients, because we work so closely for them. So it's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For many years, nurses or nursing has been the most trusted profession. That doesn't come with a grain of salt. We are
Mhm.
trusted because we work hard for our patients. The good majority of us, we love our patients. We want to take care of them. We want to see them succeed. We want to make sure that, we're providing the best care that we can give, and that care is being
Yeah.
continuity.
Yeah.
So that's why nursing hard, because you feel like, I mean, we give a lot to our patients. We give a lot to our careers. And like I said before, it's not for the faint of heart. It's you
Yeah.
have to have tough skin, you know. I
Yeah.
said tough skin and a soft heart, because a lot of people,
Yes.
yeah. You see, I just got through crying on the on the podcast.
We tough, but we got a soft heart. That
You
is,
gotta have a
I
soft
love that analogy. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's just amazing how nurses bring the two different just the two differences together, and they form a bigger meaning, a bigger purpose in it. You know, we use our compassion, but just our courage at the same time, you know, to really give our best in everything we do. And it's because of that that makes us so uniquely just equipped to do the work we do. We bring it both. We bring it all to the table. And so it's awesome. Awesome. Okay. So, I wanted to ask about losing your purpose as we start wrapping up. Have you ever experienced a time in your career where you may have been unsure? What did I get into? How did I get here? I'm not sure. Nursing is my purpose anymore. Did you get to a time like that? And what were some things that helped you, maybe some self care things that helped you come out of that time and come out winning again?
So, like I mentioned earlier, I obtained my master's in nursing education in 2018, like April of 2018. But I actually didn't get uh, a adjunct or a faculty position until August of 2019. So a whole year and some months later. And I was looking for that whole year. I was looking for a nurse faculty job. So when I didn't get that job, I went back to the bedside. I went back to what I knew. And in that time, I was like, I spent all this time getting my master's, and I'm not even working in that field. So once I got that adjunct position, I once I got the adjunct position, I dived right into it, because this is what I was studying for the past 2 years. I got right to it. They was like, "Oh, are you experienced?" I'm like, "No, this is my first adjunct." I'm not gonna be, I guess,
Shy.
shy about it or easy on my students, or one of those, that's okay. No, I want you to do what the school is asking you to do. They asked you to do this. They asked you to do all this work, and I'm going to check every last little thing you put on the paper. Okay. And it's like, well, you look so young. I don't care about me looking young. Thank you. But I want to know that you're going to do this work and you're going to do it correctly, because this is how you're going to pass, become, a safe nurse, a safe
Mhm.
nurse. So that was a time that I was discouraged. That after I got my master's, it took me a year and some change to get into the actual uh, nurse faculty position. So that in that time I was down, like, man, maybe I should have been an NP. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Maybe I should went the wrong route and should have did nurse practitioner. Even if I was a nurse practitioner, I could still work in education. So I still kind of struggle with that. If I wanted to, I could become a nurse practitioner right now, after a year of, clinicals and extra classes. But I feel like nursing education is where I want to be.
Yeah.
So burnout, of course, I had burnout just being on a unit, being on a new nurse. And that's actually encouraged me to go get my master's, because I'm like, okay, I
Mhm.
could do something else in the world of academia. So
Mhm.
just being a nurse for a few years on the floor, you know how that go, Fallon. You can get burned out very easy, and
Yeah.
it doesn't take very long. It don't even take very much. I mean, you can be on the night shift and be burnt out, and just do your 3 12-hour shifts a week, and that still could be a lot on your body. Because who used to being up all night?
Yeah.
Your body is supposed to be operating in the daytime.
Yeah. No, I agree. Burnout can hit you, and it's not just this physical, it's the emotional as well. So, going back to what you said about the year off, was there anything that you did to kind of prepare for that next step? Like any self-care, anything that just help encourage you to stay in the game. Like, this is not it. The job that I want is coming. Like, be patient.
So I applied to multiple schools. In fact,
Okay.
one of the instructors um, seen me at the hospital, and she was like, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" I'm like, "Yeah, I used to work at a school, but I wasn't faculty." She's like, "Okay, you got the simulation background." So I did have a background in nursing simulation, but I didn't have my master's yet.
Mm,
So I didn't know who she was. She's like, "No, no, I know you from somewhere." I'm like, "Yeah, I used to work at Chambers." She's like, "Oh, okay," and then kept it moving. So I think just me being, just being on the floor, being a unit, doing my safe nursing care, just being me and my stuff. After I applied to so many jobs, someone noticed that I
mm,
had a background in simulation, that I had a master's degree, and that I had and that my master's degree was actually in education. Like, you can have a master's in administration and still
mhm,
be a part of education, but my degree was specifically in nursing education. So not only that I had a passion for it, this is my purpose. This is teaching on
mm,
purpose. It is for my master's is for nursing education. So yeah, I think, just being at the hospital, being encouraging, staying, afloat, just staying myself and keep on applying to jobs, of course, and trying
yeah.
to make contacts. Oh, going to job fairs, dropping off my resume, things like that, going to these school open houses to see how their nursing program looks. So things
Mm,
like that. Yep, you have to
yeah.
really go get it. Go out there and get it.
Yes.
You gotta go get
Yes.
it. Go get it. You'll get there. I have to encourage myself. So
Not giving up. Yeah, that's what I
yes,
hear you saying, like, going the extra mile and being proactive about it.
yeah.
You're going
Put
to
the
find that
effort.
job. Putting in the effort, yeah, and just like you said, staying true to yourself,
Mhm.
keeping positive even though things may be looking down, like, I don't know why I got into this job, why did I
Mhm.
go for this degree? I could have been an MP. Just staying true to
Mhm.
you. This is your passion. Really staying true to you. Like, if this is what you wanted to go for as an educator, it's going to come. These
Mhm.
things are going to happen. And I feel like those mental health practices, those affirmations every day, believing in yourself, even when nobody else believed in you. Like you said, that sharing about that faculty member that told you to go to the LPN, but look at you now. Like,
Mhm.
like everything happens for a reason. Never giving up on your dreams, no matter
Mhm.
what the setback. Everything is leading you there. Everything that you're doing now, the the networking that you were doing, the passing out your flyers or your resume or talking to people and just staying afloat, that was all preparing you to get to that next level, so that when you did jump in, you were ready. You were going. You were like, all right, let's go. I'm not being soft on y'all. I'm not just being easy. Let's
Right.
go. Yeah. So I think that's awesome, because even with that fire, even with that spark when you got in, I'm sure it benefited many students overall.
So I will hope so. I will hope
Yeah.
so. They love to be chummy with you. Like, hey, Professor Spencer. Hey, girl, did you do your work? You're like, yeah,
See,
it's right here. Yeah. See, they love to be chummy. They like,
see,
hey, yeah.
I would not be a great instructor because I would be with the chummy and I would just be like, okay, oh wait, I was
Bet you
supposed to.
would. You would absolutely be a fantastic instructor. Are you
I
serious?
appreciate that. I
You will
appreciate that.
be a fantastic instructor, because when we worked together in 2020, right, we had to build that whole part of that our unit per se, right?
Yeah.
So we was running around getting things done. You were assessing the needs of our unit, assessing the needs
Mhm.
of the things for our patients that we needed for that unit. You was doing that already,
Yeah.
you was teaching me. You were one of, I always make fun of Fallon because she's so petite and I'm so tall. I'm like a giant in comparison to her. So I seen Fallon IV skills. You know what I'm saying? She was teaching me about how she put in IVs, and I was teaching her how I learned how to put in IVs. I mean, it's the same way. We just have different techniques. Her hands are smaller than mine. Mine's way bigger, so her technique was a little different. And guess what? When we couldn't get an IV in and things, we had to go find. I had to go get that
The
vein
vein
finder
finder.
on a whole different unit.
Sheena
On a
knew where to
whole
go.
different unit. So I mean, this is teaching on purpose. We taught each other things. When you're in a
Mhm.
hospital, if you're a bedside inpatient nurse, you are teaching your patients.
Mm,
You're providing education about medications and so forth. You also have preceptors. I had a preceptor who was a nurse faculty who precepted me to become a better nurse faculty member. So we're all teaching each other. This is teaching on purpose, you know?
yeah,
And I know we talk about, nurses get a lot of flack, you know what I'm saying? Like, this
yeah.
is a hard profession, but I don't know. It's kind of like I'm married to the game now. It's like,
Mm.
what else I'm gonna do now? What else I'm gonna
A nurse
do?
forever. When you in, you're in. There is so much you can do. Yeah. And we're always learning. We're always growing. We're always teaching. And it's just part of the nursing brain. Like that's how we process on a different level. It just makes us so much more uniquely just positioned. We are like everybody wants to have a nurse on their team, on their committee, on part of the, at the job, in their communities. They want nurses because we're the most trusted. And it all starts with that mindset of learning, of teaching others. So I love it. And we're going to continue teaching and learning others on here. So I'm so happy you were able to join us today, Miss Sheena
Absolutely.
Stanciel. For sure, for sure. Any
Yeah.
last words? Please tell us what you're working on because your passion project, your podcast is amazing as well. Like you said in the beginning, the new nurses that come in that are already burnt out. What are some things that you're working on for them in your arena, in your platform? I'd love to hear it.
So I also have a podcast. It's called Up Next Nurse. I basically talk to new grad nurses and nursing students, and I'm giving them a inside. I'm about to say inside edition. Girl, that's a whole TV show.
Inside edition.
Okay, let me start over. So I have I have a podcast. It's called Up Next Nurse. I'm giving my former students who are now nurses the platform to talk about anything that they want, their concerns about being a new nurse, what they wish they would have learned in nursing school. It's basically a podcast for the new grads. So I want
Yeah.
them to sound off respectfully, and just talk about the experience of being a new grad nurse in the year 2023. We have a lot of nurses that came out, like was in nursing school during COVID.
Yeah.
Even that aspect of nursing school was different because you couldn't fully do nursing school like it was before
Yeah.
pandemic. It was always we was always on alert about if this student has COVID, like, oh, we don't want to expose them to COVID and so forth like that. So yeah, I just want to. It's a small following of Up Next Nurse, and I'm gonna get some more students on that. I also had Fallon on a couple of episodes. We talked about dating and of course burnout as a nurse. So it was fun. I think it's fun to do. I'm happy to be joining the network of podcasters if that's, something.
And you're doing an amazing job at it. Just having
Yeah.
that pushing your purpose and your passion even further as an educator and elevating
Mhm.
it. So you're reaching more people, you're giving different nurses an opportunity to sound off like you said. So it's another way that you can reach your purpose project, your passion project. So I'm super proud of you and just
Yeah.
thankful that I could even be on there because we had a lot of fun, y'all. So
Yes, we
if you
did.
want to find out more about Miss Sheena, I'm going to link all of her information in the show notes so you can reach out, so you can connect with her. It's an amazing podcast, an amazing resource for even the seasoned nurses. Maybe hey, you might want to show it to a new nurse that may have some concerns, some struggles. Hey, you want to relate with somebody? Let me share with you this podcast, Up Next Nurse. And it's a
Okay.
great resource for you to have, even for our seasoned nurses that are out there.
Okay.
So I appreciate you, Miss Sheena, for
Oh,
just
thank
hopping
you.
on with us and sharing more about your purpose and teaching on purpose and how you have just grown and grown through your journey, friend. And I am so proud of you. And I want you to continue honoring your passion. And any way that I can support you, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And yeah, thanks for hopping on.
Oh, I appreciate you, Fallon, so much. Thank you once again. You are a great nursing friend for me. Like for real, like you're doing your thing out here. You glow nurse, you go girl, you do all that. You feel me? Cause you have it. You know, you got it in spades, darling. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, friend. All right, and I'll see you next time. Take care and be
All right, you
well.
take care, boo. All right, bye.
Bye, y'all. Miss Sheena was in the building, and I thank her and I appreciate her. Like I said, y'all, this season 4 is going to be really something super special for the nurses. For those of you that maybe you are searching for your purpose, you trying to figure it out, or maybe, hey, I need some clarity. I'm trying to up level. I'm trying to elevate like Miss Sheena in my purpose. I'm trying to get to that next level. Where are you in your purpose journey as a nurse? We are speaking all about it in this season 4. I'm going to have amazing guests on, so you don't want to miss out, y'all. Season 4, y'all. You Glow Nurse is here to stay, and I can't wait to share all of the wonderful resources with you. Okay, one last thing before we go. I have an accountability group coming on for the month of July. So if you are ready to reset for the summer, get back to your fit, fine self, sis, then you want to join us in the Summer Reset Challenge. We are sticking to a few principles, focusing on fitness, nutrition, mental wellness. We're focusing on these things for the rest of the summer. We're trying to get fit, fine, and fabulous. Nurses can take care of themselves too. You want to join me on my social media platforms, go ahead and shoot me a DM on my Facebook or on my Instagram so we can get you in on the group, y'all. Join the Summer Reset Challenge to get you fit, fine, and fabulous, nurse. You deserve it as you care for others, as you give to so many. Let's take care of ourselves first. If we can fill our cups full and overflowing, we can then give so much more in our purpose, in our passion, and beyond. Y'all, it's been a great one. It's been amazing. I cannot wait for the next time. I'll see y'all later. Bye.